Hey everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with some more modern action. This time some more Boros Burn, but with an M21 edition Chandra's Incinerator. The big boy that costs 6 mana that can potentially be cast for less. So, as a friendly reminder, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, and especially like modern content with lightning bolt based, whether it be Burn, Jun, Death Shadow, etc., and like a little bit of sprinkling of Pioneer and Legacy in there, please consider subscribing to the channel, as we aim to be the most informative channel for Modern on YouTube. So, full disclosure on this. First off, the base of this list is not my own. The main deck basis is from a user on the Burn Discord, Poseidon. We've mentioned him once or twice on the channel before. We've actually played against him, I think, at least in one of the Burn videos. And this is one of the more tame versions that the people in the Burn Discord are working on for Chandra's Incinerator. Full disclosure, I think Chandra's Incinerator is overrated. I think that the downside of having a very bad top deck in the late game and having to skew your deck a little bit, or a lot of bits in some cases, to make this card playable and good is risky. I think the upside of the card is huge. For those of you that aren't aware of Chandra's Incinerator, its exact text is, it's 5 no red for 6/6 Trampler. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to a creature or planeswalker that controls. So effectively, this is a 6/6 Trampler that you can pay for less if you've done, usually burn damage. With, what was the name of that card? It's 1 in a red, Satyr Fire Dancer attached to it, except we can also hit planeswalkers in addition to creatures. This effectively turns your Boros Charms into 4 damage, kill your, 4/4 Scavenging Ooze. Or Boros Charm, kill your Thought-Knot Seer. So the upside of this card is tremendously insane if you can play it on turn 2 or turn 3, and if it sticks around. Now that said, a lot of the format removal spells and the Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, most bolts effects, most of those don't answer Chandra's Incinerator. Now there are cards that can answer it. Path to Exile, Ether Gust out of the sideboard, some of the blue decks. It can get bounced by things like Teferi. It can get edicted by Liliana if you don't have any other creatures. Kaya's Guile can also grab it if there's no other creatures. So there are answers in the format, but they are awkward. Assassin's Trophy, also another card that can answer it. But a lot of these things are very conditional and not see play in huge numbers. So for that reason, if there's a time to try and Chandra's Incinerator while the format is kind of weak to it, it's kind of right now. That said, what cards do we cut for it? The main cards that have been cut from this particular list which was largely based off of the list we played last night, were 2 copies of Lightning Helix and 4 copies of Searing Blaze. Another card that we're also playing in the main deck to supplement this is Seal of Fire. Now, obviously, Seal of Fire is not generally a modern playable Magic card. Shock on an enchantment has seen play in spots even before the Lurrus meta. You saw some play with like the Traverse Death Shadow decks, especially the 4-color Death Shadow would sometimes play like a Seal of Fire as like an extra card type to get in the graveyard for Traverse and Tarmogoyf and stuff. So it's not normally modern play level, but when you pair this with Riftbolt, it gives you 7 plays on turn 1 that you can chain into another spell on turn 2 to potentially play Chandra's Incinerator on turn 2. This card is a house if you play it on turn 2 and on top of it on turn 3. Now, a lot of the debate centered around what cards do you cut. Some people were even talking about cutting Monastery Swift Spear. I personally think that's crazy talk, because Swift Spear enables some of your quicker kills, and in a lot of the matches where Chandra's Incinerator is not going to be particularly good other than being a 6/6 Trampler, which is no small feat, mind you, Swift Spear and Goblin Guide are your best cards. Ad nauseum. Tron. Decks that you're trying to get dead before their powerful spells come online. So, I'm opting for the more conservative build. There was a less conservative build. See if I can find it in the Discord. Once again, giving all credit to Poseidon for his lists. So, not trying to claim here, as these are not my own things. The other list, and I don't think it's really kind of hard to see, is like 4 Goblin Guide, 4 Seal of Fire, and then 4 Chandra's Inferno. And it's certainly something we could look at in the future if Chandra's Incinerator ends up being awesome. But I am going into this fully admitting that I am biased against the card. So we'll see how it performs in this league, and then beyond that, you just kind of your typical burn sideboard, scale down a little bit to get all the skull cracks into the sideboard. We cut a Core Firewalker, cut a Path to Exile to get the other 2 skull cracks in the sideboard from the list we ran yesterday. So, without further ado, let's see how Chandra's Incinerator does in a burn league. Back for match number 1. We're on the play, which is nice. We have a Chandra's Incinerator. So sure. I mean, this is a turn 3 Incinerator, which isn't like fantastic, but we have Bolt, and we have the option of these 2 spells plus Incinerator, so I'm just going to play Arid Mesa and pass. So I'm not going to play anything on turn 1, which is highly unusual for burn, obviously. But we have the namesake card, so Heritage Druid. Okay. I'm just going to pass. Let's get a Sacred Founder here. Still going to hold up Bolts. Heritage Druid on its own isn't dangerous. It's Heritage Druid in addition to other stuff that is dangerous. So okay. So we're going to play a kind of blanks their entire turn. They're basically playing a 2/2 on turn 2. Huh. Normally this is a situation where you'd want to play Eidolon against them. However, in the interest of science, we're going to play this, do that. Play this for 1 red mana. Go! Sure. Do they have another land? They do not. Alright. Play the Incinerator here, or swing with the Incinerator. Probably play Eidolon and then hold up Bolt. Once again, Bolt's being reserved for anything that's actually threatening. Trigger. Lansley. Yeah, they would have gone crazy with. That's an insane interaction. Oh, man. Probably want to bring in the pass and the skull cracks, I guess. Some number of them at least. Down Boros charms. Remember, non-combat damage is dealt. Yep, apparently that includes Eidolon triggers. Got a mulligan this hand. Alright, this hand's a reasonable functioning burn hand. Probably putting back Lava Spike, be my guess here. Okay, they are green light. Stifle their mana a little bit. Alright, well, let's play Eidolon and pass. Do you have a Path to Exile or something here? Guess you could also have Celestial Purge. Grab a basic mountain, pass turn. Place with Spear. Goblin Guide. This will bait out if they have another path or something. Trigger. Shock it up, shock it in. Let me begin. Eidolon it down. Okay. So they get to play. Core Firewalker is a little rough. I approve, my friend. I approve. Trigger. An War Visionary. Interesting. Trigger. Get to go to 10. That's fine. Seven. Skullcrack Resolve first. Then Helix. They don't get any life. A little weird, but it's kind of whatever here. And GG. Right, on to the next match. Back for match number 2. Yeah. I think even against a Urion deck, I am kind of excited to keep this hand. Obviously, this is probably not the type of that matchup that Incinerator is particularly good in, but, you know. Depends on what nature of Urion deck our opponent is. Us being on the draw also increases our chances to draw second and third lands. So, overall, I like this hand very much, although the mismatched Goblin guys are just kind of annoying. 4/1 mana spell is kind of hard to pass up. I love the alternative language on bolts and stuff. You know, it used to be like target creature or player back when the old targeting rules were you had to target the player and then redirect. Mulliganing to 5. Keeps. Okay. Would have loved to have drawn a land there, but you know, can't really complain about stuff here. Helping our opponent unmulligan is kind of unfortunate. Alright, so Saltire Bant, be my guess. No danger of them having Coatl with Death Touch next turn, I don't think. So, interesting. Land, please. Land would be good. Alright, well, I guess Goblin God it is. Hopefully this will resolve. I'm guessing we have a mana leak in our future. Remand, okay. Alright, so they are Scapeshift. Alright. Do they have a third land? Could get Archmage's Charmed here, which would be highly annoying. Alright, apparently we're just going to die to the fact that we don't have lands here. So force them to act if they want to. Alright, so no trigger. They have Coatl, they should play it now. That's a mistimed Archmage's Charm. Okay. I honestly think that Archmage's Charm could have been used to better effect, but, you know. Yep, Uro is going to be problematic this game. They have another one? No, suspend search for tomorrow. Okay, apparently we're on the draw everyone drop spell in my deck and never draw another land. Triggers. Wilderness Wreck. Oh. They're a Wilderness Wreck. Interesting. Guess another fetch land would bring back Uro. Yep. I get to play Wilderness Rock here. Pass the turn. Since I'm attacking in here. Go spiral, sure. Okay. Is this a revelation? Feels like a revelation. Oop, that's a who. Alright. There's another land. Swift Spear. Swift Spear. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna be around plus the rest of the value. Okie dokie. Definitely want the skull cracks in. Path is kind of here. I don't think we really want like the non. It's 4 skull cracks in to or skewer the critics out? Question mark. Since the main purpose of this league is to check Chandra's Incinerator. I think if we ever would have drawn a second land on in a reasonable manner, we probably would have won that game. But don't see a second land in the top 13 cards of your deck. You know, that's what happens sometimes. Some of the hands you keep with burn. Can't keep the 5-lander. This hand isn't exactly amazing, but I still think it's a keep. Put back the basic mountain against the Path to Exile deck. It's the kind of hand that the Incinerator obviously is a decent draw game, or turn 2, or even turn 3, but a terrible draw going into the mid game. So like we want to draw either this turn or next turn. So is that correct? No, we need another spell to make it reasonable. Alright, I mean, at least we're gonna give it a try, right? Give me a Prismatic Vista, seems pretty bad for us. How exactly is Ice Fang worded? MTG Ice Fang. It's 3 permanents? There's 3 others, no permanents. Okay. Growth Spiral, sure. Yep. Going to sure. Going to 5. Okay. Feels like they should have gotten an island there if they have Cryptic. Okay, sure. That is a risky maneuver, my friend. And to that I say, you don't have Force of Negation up, and you're dead. Well, don't reveal to them our secret tech of Incinerator, but They did show us weather the storm, though. Hmm. Don't think we can keep the 5-lander. So we could represent a very fast Chandra's Incinerator, but I don't think that's the route this hand's going to go. Once again, I'm playing to win still, so a lot of people would argue maybe you're supposed to play the Incinerator there because we're testing it out, but I don't think... Like a turn 2 Incinerator is nice, but if they have a path to exile, then it's all kind of for naught. Trigger. They have a Coatl. Coatl, however you wish to pronounce it. Also have to be mindful of Weather the Storm in their deck. Opponent's at 17. If we'd cast Riftbolt into... Yeah, we'd cast Riftbolt. Opponent would be at 17 here. Go to 14, go to 11. We'd have a 6/6 Trampler. And then 2 other haste threats. So maybe it was correct to keep the 6/6. Sure. Okay, Ether Gust. Yeah, Coatl can block. I don't particularly care. Suspend the Riftbolt. I know our opponent has Ether Gust. Actually, no, they won't, will they? So that's going to come off. Ether Gust would have been bad for Incinerator. Yeah, it was bad for the home team. Gun swing here. Trigger this Batman. Okay. Okay. So even if we hold up Skullcrack, Mana, it's unlikely to deter them from casting arrows, so we'll just go ahead and bolt them here. We're going to go to 11. That's exactly what they go for. It's possible the Incinerator would have been better. Alright, and GG. Back for match number 3. We're on the draw. Once again, 5-lander, can't keep. I think we're keeping this one just for funsies. Not really for funsies, it's actually a potentially very good hand. Get to test out Incinerator with a Rift Bolt, screw the critic's hand. Probably put back Sacred Foundry. Okay. What is Arbor Elf? Well, pass turn. Hopefully they don't blow up our land, they just go for like a Clothis here. Okay. Oh, Devoted Druid combo. Well, so do I play the normal burn game plan here of Swift Spear into Skewer your Devoted Druid and forego Chandra's Incinerator? Or do I hope my opponent doesn't have the 2 pieces they need for the combo and just play Incinerator and hope we get to like dominate the board from there? Like, the sensible part of me wants to go Swift Spear, Skewer the Critics, Kill Your Devoted Druid. The broken want to do the thing, just wants to play Incinerator, and definitely not playing to win here. This is playing for the awesomeness factor, and if I'm dead, I'm dead. Good. Debated playing the right line or jam the new guy. Okay. Guess we should have gone with the proper line. Two-path exile. Rid of the 4 Boros charms. Bring in 2-path, 2 Skullcrack. Go like that. Alright, so we did it for the cool factor, we died, you know. Proper play there was to obviously play Swift Spear and skewer the Devoted Druid, so nice to get the Chandra's Incinerator down on 2, but then I died, so, you know. If we were on the play, that play is awesome. Then we get to untap with Chandra's Incinerator, dominate their board with a 6/6, blow up their stuff. You know, all the fun things in the world, but sometimes we'll do things in the name of science. So, alright, bring in the 2-path, bring in the Skullcrack, go down the Boros Charms. Unfortunately, we don't have the actual Blaze effects, which are traditionally the best cards in this matchup. So I deliberately took a worse play to get the creature down. So, I mean, if we're looking at Chandra's Incinerator count here, we've drawn it 3 times. Once we played it and it was awesome. Once we played it, or didn't play it because it was the correct line to do to win the game. And then the 3rd time we jammed it and died. So, sometimes it's been great. Sometimes it's been Alright, we'll be able to play this game, which is nice. This is the game we have to win, though. Another 1-lander. I think because we have Bolt, we can go ahead and keep this hand. It's not, like, fantastic. And it's actually possible I was supposed to mulligan this hand. Just because Kitchen Finks is a card that exists, and this hand can't beat a Kitchen Finks. So, Mars Call, sure. Yield 1 lander. Don't get punished yet, but we probably will here shortly. 2, they get a land. Okay. All these decks with friggin' core firewalkers, man. Opponent gains a life, that's kind of whatever here. Let's play the onboard card to kill their stuff. Know they have access to a third land. If they land Kitchen thinks this game is basically over. That's playing a unique version of the combo. We know they have Eldamar's Call and Misty Rainforest in hand. Interesting. Now they're going to Eldamar's Call at the end of turn, which is fine. They have like a Forge Chandra or something. It's going to be miserable, but here we sit. Mm-hmm. They go in for Finks. They go in for another core Firewalker. Sure. And has multiple core Firewalkers. Okay, there's the Misty that we knew about. Yep. And please, come on, deck, give me a... kind of, not gonna lie, frustrating to not rip lands here. You have a third one? Alright, we can go ahead and scoop it up to that one. Alright, on to the next map. We're back for match number 4 with Incinerator Burn versus Sir Cheesy the Great. Yep, this is what this deck wants. So, be on the play, have a turn to Incinerator, and hope it's good enough. Driving my life away, looking for a runaway. Whoa, me. What are we up against? Okay, see if this resolves. Do that. Let's grab a basic mountain here. Don't know if we're up against Storm, if we're up against like some type of Living End. Okay. Probably not the best Living End deck. So we're gonna get Electro bounced. Ooh, me. Driving my life away, looking for a brand new way. Feels like we're gonna get Electro balanced here. Okay. Yep. So I'm not choosing not to fetch there because it actually might buy us another turn. Let's do to 7. Let's do to 5. Pass turn. Also, a friendly reminder that Grafdigger's Cage does not work against Living End, so we will not be bringing that in this matchup. Don't know if that deck plays freaking mismatch remands, too. Just leaving Swift Spear in play as a blocker. Pass turn. If they have anything, a Stiff Breeze, a Lightning Bolt, an Electrobalance, a... yeah. Should have won. Am I dead? Maybe. We'll find out in a second. Okay. Do you have a command or something? Do, then we're dead. If not, then you're dead. No! Yeah, of course they have the third command, because why wouldn't they, right? Definitely want rest in pieces. Out the exiles. Once again, incinerators aren't good. Or incinerators are these 4 cards, what are we cutting? Crazy to cut 4 Boros charms. Probably helixes aren't great. They might bring in something like Bloodmoon or something. Run the pass on the draw. That was annoying. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. They have snare, they have snare, there's nothing we can do about it. I'm not going to jam idle on just because I'm playing around spell snare. Okay, 4 mana. 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 4 we're more likely to have a Desert Ceradon happen to us again than, you know, thingsandstuff.org. Admittedly, a turn 2 Desert Ceradon is pretty rough to beat. This plays around Amanda a little bit better. I'll attack with these guys, see what happens first. Wolf Canal. Don't want to give them a good remand target, so I'm just going to cast Rift Bolt here. This forces them to take game actions whether they want to or not. Probably cycling some stuff here. Yep. As foretold, sure. You've got rhinos. Rhinos are annoying. Pitch to that. As foretold. Okay. Attack with Swiss Spear here. Trade with one of the rhinos, presumably. Sure, they got a double block here, so yeah. Yes. Just the old, I got more rhinos. Sure. Ether Gust, sure. Well, I put that on bottom. Yep. To take a point of damage to do that, which is nice. Okay. So we know they have Ether Gust in hand, which is annoying. Cool. On to the next match. Right, back here with the final match with our first thing with Incinerator Burn. This hand's pretty good. Goblin Guide and Eidolon and stuff. Even on the draw, this hand's pretty decent, so. No Incinerator in this hand. So this is just your prototypical usual burn hand. I'm playing some weird games tonight, though. Turn 2 Desert Ceradon. Turn 3 make 8 power dudes. Let's see how Chandra's Incinerator does in the mid to late game here. Oh, we're up against spirits. Okay, well, this hand may not be particularly good against spirits. Alright, so seal. Oh. So I might have a rattle chains here. Hots. They're most likely blue-white. Driving my life away, looking for a better way. So, well, this would be a good chance to resolve Eidolon here. The problem I have with Eidolon specifically is the fact that, yeah. So I'd really like to resolve this Incinerator, but if I go ahead and do that here, then there's a decent chance my opponent will play another Drog Skull Captain, and we'll be completely locked out of the game. Force of Virtue. Okay. Instead, I'm going to play Incinerator and say pass. Do you have Path to Exile, or are you dead? Sure. Okay, sure. Oh, I just missed lethal because I'm being too cute here. Kill that one, I guess. Alright. Well, turns out Boros Charm plus Incinerator is just a straight out absurd amount of damage too. I want the paths. Eidolon's likely bad against blue-white, because that likely means they might have Ether Vial. The only question is, do we really have much else to bring in here? 2 Skull Cracks. Not that blue-white plays a lot of life gain, but I suppose they could have some. So How do I look at this? Could also potentially bring in Wear Terror since they showed us that white enchantment, but I don't think that's the correct way to go about this matchup. Yeah, so far we've had 5 chances to cast it reasonably. 3, it was going to be really, really good, or was really, really good. 1, it was correct to not cast it, and the other time we deliberately cast it, despite knowing it was likely a very bad play. And yeah. Sounds pretty good. Three ways to interact with creatures and 2 ways to pressure them. Seems pretty good. Alright. I mean, be back in a sec with the wrap up. Alright. This is going to be a little bit longer wrap up than usual on a burn video, but I think each part deserves its discussion. So, overall, League 2 and 3, kind of disappointing result. Comes down to a couple of one-landers I risked the boat on. They didn't pay off. Opponent drew out of mulligans or whatever. Won the games. Okay. That's something I got to work on as a burn player. I still think a lot of times those hands are worth a gamble. You know, because burn is a raw resource deck. I got to get in the habit of mulliganing those hands a little bit more aggressively, maybe. Especially with the London mulligan. Middle match, fourth match, the Living End match. Game 2, Incinerator on the play, and then turn around and get Living End. Get Living Ended on 2. That's just difficult. Bring in our Graveyard Hate. Have our Graveyard Hate. Get Crashing Footfalls twice. Kind of hard to power through 16 power. That does close out the game pretty quickly. So I would say I would chalk that up to our opponent drawing well in those matchups. Not really a whole lot more we could have done in those spots, I don't think. So that's that. That's the overall thing. A secondary note along with that was the large presence of core Firewalkers in our devoted Druid combo opponent. I think that's an indication that maybe we should be up on Path to Exiles, perhaps. And then finally we get down to Big Mama here. Chandra's Incinerator. 5 times the card came up in reasonable situations. 3 of them were correct to jam. And in both circumstances, they dominated the battlefield. Against elves and against Azorius spirits. I don't think either one of those are particularly bad matchups for us when we normally have Searing Blazes. They're certainly losable, but I think that definitely shows how powerful these can be in tribal matchups. Third time that we jammed was against Living End when they were fortunate enough to Living End us on turn 2. That's not going to happen too often, even for that deck. It's more likely to happen on turn 3, and if that Chandra's Incinerator connects once, I think we win that game. The one time I deliberately jammed it against Devoted Druid, even though I knew it was the wrong line, that was one of those, I did it because we're here to see Chandra's Incinerator more than necessarily try to win the matches. And the fifth time, just the nature of how the game developed, it was better to hold up Boros Charm and ended up winning this game. So, the short process so far would be the card is very good as long as you make small adjustments to your deck to play it. I think Seal of Fire might be enough of an adjustment to play it. The rest of the deck, pretty typical burn stuff. Pretty impressive. I can't lie. I went from being a skeptic to kind of hopeful for this card. So, see what happens in the future videos, as there will definitely be more of this coming. But I did want to get a video out of this tonight and get a little bit of testing in tonight. But I am tired and probably going to be going to bed here shortly. But wanted to get a league in here tonight and had some positive results. So, despite the overall kind of downer on the league. But I think some of that was variance and just some risky keeps on my part. So, anyways, this has been John for MTG Nexus with Chandra's Incinerator in Boros Burn.